Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Saturday, August 27, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you at least 5 betting picks for each game, a team pick, a total pick, and multiple prop bets based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Indianapolis Colts vs Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13-4 last year, hitting the road to Lucas Oil Stadium on Saturday, where they will go up against the Indianapolis Colts 9-8 last season. Our team pick is Indianapolis Colts minus 5.5 points. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also 0-2 heading into the last preseason game. The Bucs scored just 3 points in last week's loss to the Titans. QB Kyle Trask went 11-24 and threw for 105 yards and an interception. Keyshawn Vaughn led the running back with 10 carries. The Tampa Bay Bucs are dealing with the injury bug early in the season. Tom Brady is back with the team and Mike Evans looked to be a go for week 1 of the regular season. The Buccaneers have not shown much this preseason, are still heavy favorites for the regular season. The Indianapolis Colts should have the edge in this game, being at home, and they will play their starters for more time. The Colts and the Bucs are both looking for a win as they get set to make their final roster cuts. Back the home team. The Indianapolis Colts will try to rebound themselves after a late 27-26 loss to the Detroit Lions last time out. Sam Ehlinger threw for 136 yards and 2 TDs on 9 of 11 passing, while Jack Cohn tossed for 83 yards and a score on 7 of 11 passing, and Nick Foles threw for 56 yards on 5 of 6 passing. Vontae Price led the Colts with 13 rushing yards on 6 carries, while Desmond Patman had a team-high 5 catches for 103 yards and a TD. Mike Strachan had 3 grabs for 45 yards and a TD, while Samson Nacua added a receiving TD as well in the loss. Forrest Ryan led the Colts defense with 9 total tackles, including 6 solo tackles, while Dayo Odeyingbo had a pair of sacks. Ifeadi Odenigbo had a sack as well, and Tony Brown added an interception in the loss. Our total pick is under 39 points. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be looking to rebound from a 13-3 loss to the Tennessee Titans in their last preseason game. Kyle Trask threw for 105 yards and an interception on 11 of 24 passing, while Keyshawn Vaughn led the Bucs with 10 carries for 54 yards on the ground. Devin Tompkins had a pair of grabs for 38 yards, and Tyler Johnson also contributed a pair of receptions for 24 yards. On defense, Olakunle Fatukasi led the way with 10 total tackles, including 5 solo tackles and 1.5 sacks, while Don Gardner added an interception as well for the Bucs. Our prop bets are: first pick is Indianapolis Colts over 20.5 points. The Indianapolis Colts had an average of 347.1 yards per outing, which ranked them 16th in the league. They held an average of 149.4 yards per game via the rush and rushed for 2,540 yards in total. The Indianapolis offense racked up 688 penalty yards on 76 infractions, which ranked 30th in the NFL in terms of making mistakes. They tossed 8 interceptions while losing 11 fumbles, and they obtained 167 first downs. Last season, the Colts threw for a total of 3,361 passing yards, along with an average of 197.7 passing yards per game, which had them ranked 26th in the league. In terms of putting points on the board, the Colts ranked 9th out of all teams in the league with a maintained average of 26.5 ppg. The Colts conceded 21.5 ppg, which had them ranked 10th of all teams in the league. Indianapolis allowed the opposition a total of 1,854 yards on the ground, 109.1 yards per contest, and 10 touchdowns on the ground last year. They conceded 32 touchdowns through the air and 234.1 yards per outing, which had them sitting 19th in football. The Colts defense took the field for 1,050 plays, which had them sitting 11th in the league. In total, they gave up 365 points in total. They earned 33 takeaways, 14 fumbles recovered and 19 interceptions over the course of the prior season. Second pick is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Under 20.5 points. When it comes to putting the ball in the end zone, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers averaged 30.1 points per outing. As a team, they maintained an average of 98.4 yards via the ground game, which had them sitting 26th in the league. The Buccaneers had 6,901 yards in total for the prior season. Tampa Bay accounted for 273 first downs as a unit, and they were called for 97 penalties for 874 yards. They surrendered the football 19 different times, 12 interceptions and 7 fumbles. Tampa Bay compiled 43 touchdowns through the air and 18 rushing touchdowns. When it comes to yards through the air, the Buccaneers allowed 4,062 yards, which had them ranked 21st in the league. In their 17 games, they relinquished 238.9 yards per game via the pass and surrendering a completion percentage of 65.4%. They conceded 331.5 yards/game, putting them 13th in football. They allowed 26 touchdowns through the air as well as 11 touchdowns via the ground game. They allowed 4.3 yards per rush and 92.5 rushing yards per game for the prior season. For the season, they conceded 1,573 running yards through 17 contests. The Buccaneers ranked 5th in the NFL regarding team defense, giving up 20.8 points per game. Our player props are: our first pick, Michael Pittman Jr. over 7.5 yards per reception. The Colts wrapped up their season holding a 9-8 record. For their last game of last season, the Colts took a defeat with a final score of 26-11 when they played the Jaguars. Jonathan Taylor carried the football 15 times for 77 yards, ending the game with 5.1 yards per attempt for Indianapolis. Michael Pittman Jr. was featured in the passing game for the Colts, catching 6 passes for 64 yards, 10.7 yards per reception. Carson Wentz, 1 TD, ended the game with 185 yards on 17-29 through the air, while his quarterback rate was 74.6. He threw 1 interception and his average yards per pass attempt was 6.38 yards. Indianapolis conceded 31 attempts on the ground for 101 yards, 3.3 yards per rush. The Colts' passing defense allowed a completion rate of 71.9%, relinquishing 217 yards on 23 out of 32 through the air. The Colts finished the contest with a total of 233 yards while running 53 plays, 4.4 yards per play. Indianapolis rushed the football for 5.2 yards per attempt, finishing the contest with 94 yards on 18 attempts. Our second pick is Leonard Fournette over 1.5 yards per carry. Our third pick is Tom Brady under over 50 quarterback rating. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished the year holding a 13-4 record. In their last contest of last season, the Buccaneers took the field against the Rams and ended up losing by a score of 30-27. Leonard Fournette led the offense in rushing for the Buccaneers with 13 carries for 51 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. Mike Evans averaged 14.9 yards per reception by earning 119 yards on 8 catches. Tom Brady went 30-54 with 329 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He had a quarterback rating of 72.2 and ended the game with 1 interception. Against the run, the Buccaneers gave up 73 yards on 30 tries, which averages out to 2.4 yards per run surrendered. Tampa Bay allowed 28 completions on 38 tries for 355 yards, and a completion percentage of 73.7%. For the game, they had 71 plays which gave them 359 yards. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers rushed the ball a total of 14 times and amassed 51 yards, which had them averaging 3.6 yards per tote.